gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's November the 7th, 2023. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. Presented today by the Lunacy Home for Wayward Writers, new residents of a man named Matt Shodell. I'm going to tell you exactly what I am talking about right now. So, as I often do, because he typically does a pretty good job when he's in there, I sent Matt to the lab yesterday and told him to take a look at the transfer portal, because Florida State has built this top 5 team and has done it through the transfer portal predominantly. The recruiting classes have been ranked in the 20s. Miami, under Mario Cristobal, has done a better job of traditional recruiting, at least if you believe the rankings. But Florida State has done the better job in the transfer portal and has accelerated its program past the Hurricanes into the top 5. And Miami's a 14.5-point underdog as it goes to Doak Campbell Stadium this Saturday. So sent Matt in the lab, said, Matt, do some research on this stuff and come back with a column or a couple stories, whatever you think. That's fine. So he disappears for most of the day, okay? And he resurfaces, and this is what he submits for publication, okay? In a famous 1960 Twilight Zone TV episode titled Eye of the Beholder, viewers see a young woman's face wrapped in bandages as surgeons wearing masks are continually tending to her and hoping to make her look, quote, normal. Then comes the unveiling at the end of the episode when the bandages are removed to show a beautiful young lady. The surgery is a success, right? Question mark. Well, all of a sudden, you hear horrified voices surrounding her, and the camera pans up to the doctors and the nurses who have now taken off their masks. It's a world of pig people. You heard me correct. Pig people. And the beautiful woman is actually viewed as hideous in their realm.
I'm
sorry. I'm a little rattled here. All right. Then it goes on to say, why is that pertinent to this Miami Hurricanes football program? And I am going to stop there and try to get these pig people off my brain, because I mean, it's what the hell is a pig? What are pig people? I mean, what are pig people, and what does that have to do with Miami Hurricanes football and the transfer portal and Florida State, the biggest game of the year this weekend? Matt Shodell, the king of lunacy. Please, 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 before anybody moves onto the website this morning as they wake up and watch this show, please enlighten us. What the hell is going on here?
Well, it's obvious. I don't even think I need to explain it. Everybody out there knows. They all know how the pig people and the Miami Hurricanes are intertwined. Irrevocably intertwined forever. The pig people and the Miami Hurricanes. No, the point I'm trying to make.
Oh my God!
Here's the part you miss. It's called an allegory. So the Miami Hurricanes right now are the woman, right? At the beginning, the Miami Hurricanes have their head wrapped in bandages, and we don't know when those bandages come off what it's going to look like. That's the whole point, because it could be horrifying, or maybe it'll be a beautiful person, and maybe our perception is wrong too. Maybe right now we're the pig people looking in at this person and not recognizing that we're the pig people, and this person is actually it's a beautiful thing being formed here, because they've lost some games. Yeah, they haven't done well in the portal, but in the bigger picture, things are still trending in the right direction. One loss doesn't change what I said a week ago and you agreed with. which is the program has made big strides from a year ago. The freshmen that have played this year and are starting, I think there's 5 of them. You don't normally see that happen. And those are 5 guys that are going to keep starting for another couple of years. Francis Mauigoa, Ruben Bain, Mark Fletcher.
I assume they're not pig people, right? The guys you're naming.
I already told you why I use that.
They're not pigs, right?
Allegory, but
these are pig people, correct?
No. As a matter of fact, the video clip of the pig people is with my story, since you apparently missed that part. I put the final clip from YouTube in there. This is back when TV was black and white.
Wait a minute. You cannot put a clip from a movie. Did I miss we can't run a clip from a movie. We're going to get flagged for copyright violations.
First of all, it's not a movie.
What is it?
It's the TV show The Twilight Zone.
Yeah, we can't. That's copyright.
This was
protected.
when you were 40 years old.
You're trying to get me in jail with Trump. I don't want to go to jail with Trump.
Listen to me. You probably watched this episode when you were 40 years old with a candle because there's no electricity invented yet.
Can't run copyrighted material.
The laws back then were called the Hammurabi Code, and they just cut off your fingers if you cut someone else's fingers off. So they would put a pig mask on you if you break the copyright law now. It's no big deal. You want me to take the pig people out of my story?
You absolutely must take that out of the story quickly before I get flagged for violation of copyrights.
Wow. What if it's put up by the people who actually did the show?
It doesn't matter.
What if I link to it?
No.
What do you mean?
Oh,
No.
wait, you want to embed their video?
Correct.
Okay, you can do that.
Oh,
I'll give you the green light to do that.
Yeah,
Go ahead
it's the Twilight Zone channel. I literally linked to the Twilight Zone channel.
It's their video. We're just embedding it, but it's their video. Okay, not a problem.
I didn't even embed it. I just linked to it.
Oh, all right. Well, you can embed it.
I could embed it.
If it's on YouTube, you can embed it. Just make sure it's there.
I'm going to embed it. It's from the Twilight Zone channel. It's on YouTube. I'm going to embed it right now.
Just make sure it's their property.
Yeah, people can watch the pig people live. Right there. There it is.
I can't wait. I can't. I mean, as soon as we finish the show, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to watch the pig people.
I mean, I'm going to email you it right now.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? As a matter of fact, when I go off on my DNR, you can take a look at it yourself.
All right. I will.
Yeah. I just emailed it to you. So you can look at it right now and you tell me what you think of the pig people. Okay. You give me something to talk about.
I'm not going to do it right now, but I will do it.
I want to see your reaction when you see the pig people. I want to see it live on the air, your reaction on your face when you see the pig people. So give me something to talk about while you watch the pig people so people can see you're horrified. I mean, your face doesn't change much at your age anymore, but maybe they'll see an eyebrow lift slightly or something.
All right. I'm looking for it right now.
Perfect. So what do you want me to talk about while you're looking for it?
I want you to explain to people what the hell this is all about.
Well, I just did. So that's the reason I wrote about that. But really what the story is about, and that whole lead was just to get Gary annoyed, quite honestly. But the story itself, the whole purpose of the story is to take a mile-high view of the program from where it started, which really was obviously when Mario came in, to now looking at recruiting, the portal, where the roster stands now, how many people are leaving after this year, how many recruiting signings they're going to have, how many. I even looked at where I think they need portal help next year, because now let's face it, this season's over. It'd be great to beat Florida State, great to end on a high note, win a bowl game, but the season, for all intents and purposes, as it pertains to Miami's goals, are over. So I'm looking to next year. This is the first story I've written looking to next year, and my first real deep dive into actually analyzing these things. And I was really actually surprised. I was as shocked as Shannon Dawson was. Shannon Dawson was pretty funny. Yesterday, he says that what shocked him most in the loss at NC State wasn't Tyler Van Dyke losing his mind during the game. What shocked him most was they didn't hit a couple of deep shots. That was the only thing that shocked him, apparently. He literally said that. The only thing that shocked me was we didn't hit a couple of deep shots. So the only thing that shocked me was on offense next year. I don't think they're going to need offensive linemen because they all can come back. Maybe Javion Cohn leaves, maybe not. But they have some guys that are freshmen that are going to be really good. Tight end, they'll have Elijah Arroyo back 100%. Mario Cristobal keeps saying he's 100%. For some reason, he never plays. He's obviously not 100%. And then I think Riley Williams will be really good too at tight end. So they're okay at tight end. Running back, I think that room's fine. We talked about that already yesterday. So really, you just need a quarterback. You need a quarterback because Emory Williams, you can't have one guy. And I don't even know if he hasn't proven himself to me. You know, one game we're sort of really constrained in the game plan. That does nothing for me. So we'll see more of Emory, hopefully, these last few games this season so we can really get a better idea if he's the guy or not. But they need a portal guy. They need to open up the piggy bank, pay the piper, do whatever you got to do, get a top quarterback in here, period. That's the only guy you need on offense next year in the portal. And then on D, and keep in mind, if you're taking 25 to 30 recruiting signings, which they will, and I think you have 9 or 10 guys leaving that are seniors and maybe a couple of juniors, you're going to be jettisoning 15 or 20 players as it is off the current roster. You're really trimming almost all the fat that's left at that point because you're just left with a bunch of young guys you don't know yet how great they're going to become in 2 or 3 years. So anyway, on defense, defensive line is going to be great. I don't think they need any portal help on the line. Linebacker, I think those freshmen are going to be fine, and they can return every single starter this year. Every guy that started is not a senior at linebacker, so I don't think you necessarily need a linebacker portal guy next year. At secondary, you need a bunch of guys in the portal because you can't really just rely on Devontae Brown, Damari Brown. You want guys that have proven themselves, not guys that are huge question marks. Because Miami freaked out this spring, for instance, and said, "Oh my gosh, we didn't know that Devontae is not as good as we thought. We didn't know that these cornerbacks we have aren't that good." And then they wound up taking 5 cornerbacks in the portal, and they wound up starting a guy who they took in the portal the previous year. Right? They have Corey Couch back, and then they obviously have Jaden Davis, who they got in the portal. So they're going to need help because Jaden Davis will be gone. Corey Couch will be gone. You need cornerback help big time and that's what the portal's for. You need safety help if James Williams and Cam Kinchens leave. They don't have to leave, but if they both leave, you need safety help. So you really need 4 to 5 defensive backs in the portal next year. And again, you guys know me already. I don't want just guys who are the same as what they already have to compete and see who's the best and start those guys. I want a guy who's head and shoulders above what we got, has done it at an elite level at another program, and you open the piggy bank and you pay that guy once they're in the portal. You outbid other teams and you get them and you prove to them why they should be here and why they can be coached up and why they can go to the NFL after 1 year. That's what the portal's for. That's what
Are the pig people working at the piggy bank?
Huh?
Are the pig people working at the piggy bank?
That's the first good joke you ever told. Congratulations. So
anyways, all I could do is laugh at this whole thing. I mean, we're sitting here, we're playing videos of pig people for people this morning when we're supposed to be talking about football.
Yeah. So what do you think of the clip?
I didn't put the sound on because it would have interfered with the show, but I looked at the clip. I thought it was very funny.
High tech pig people.
What we're dealing with.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Here's a shot from the clip.
Yeah, they're gonna have to anesthetize her again and try another operation to get her to fix her face because she's hideous. She is hideous. One of the greatest TV episodes ever. I highly recommend people watch the entire episode. It's not in the clip. It's just the final couple of minutes. Find the whole episode and watch it. I watched it actually as a child, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I don't know why it popped into my head to use it for this morning's story. But when I wrote the story yesterday, somehow I was thinking Twilight Zone. I'm like, you look in
the mirror, you see a pig.
Well, no, what happened was the thought process was this season is like the Twilight Zone because anything and everything has happened, could happen. The whole taking a knee thing, the whole you beat Clemson, you beat Texas A&M, and you lose to NC State badly. The offense looks great. The offense looks terrible. I'm like, I'm going to write about the Twilight Zone. This is the Twilight Zone. And I think to myself, what was my favorite episode from the Twilight Zone? And it was the guy. There was one with the guy on the wing on an airplane. That was my favorite one. Where only one person keeps seeing this guy, this monster on the wing, and is trying to tell the whole rest of the plane, but the guy's gone when the rest of the plane looks out there, et cetera, et cetera. That was my favorite episode. I still don't mind flying. I probably should be traumatized, but I'm not. And my second favorite episode was The Eye of the Beholder, which made sense to me in the context of what's happening with Miami, because let's face it, Mario Cristobal basically has to do surgery on the whole program, and Miami may have to do surgery and cut Mario out if he doesn't fix this thing in a couple of years, because really, after 4 years, you're going to know. And last year wasn't great. This year's not great, but that's okay because Mario needs that time to get this thing right.
There might be a little nervousness. I'll acknowledge that. But no one's thinking about
make any judgment. Fans who want to make any judgment on Mario, it's ridiculous. You can't do that. You got to give him next year and the year after, and then see where we're at. You got to give him 2 more years. That it's been too long of the program in mediocrity to just keep blowing stuff up and starting over.
Keep starting over.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't keep doing that.
Which before we move on, I made a comment yesterday that didn't come out right and wasn't interpreted right, and I just want to clarify. We were talking about a little bit about Mark Fletcher, who clearly is a great freshman and doing a phenomenal job this year. And what I was thinking in my mind is Mark Fletcher is great and is going to be great here for 3 to 4 years. We need more at that position. And we need a Clinton Portis, Frank Gore, Willis McGahee, Edgerrin James type of impact running back who can do things that Mark Fletcher maybe can't do. And that is bring the home run ball back to the Miami offense. Okay. And I think they have a couple candidates next year. We'll have to see what Trevante Citizen comes back looking like. I think this true freshman, hopefully he sticks. Kevin Riley out of Alabama, who's in the recruiting class, I think he has the potential to be that kind of player. So that's what I was intending to get across. I don't know that I did it so well. So I wanted to bring it up today just to make it clear on my feelings on the running back position and Mark Fletcher. And I'm going to tell you something else about Mark. Mark has not really been in the college strength and conditioning program for a full year. He's going to have another full year of that before next season. I expect him next year to be an absolute monster because he's going to be bigger, stronger, faster, and he should be a monster. But Miami does still need more at that position. Henry Parrish, we're seeing very average play out of. Jay Allen was great in a handful of games, but has not been consistent all year. He's a keeper, but I'm not sure what you can expect in the big picture there. And Don Chaney's always beat up, hurt. He's just a depth filler, quite honestly. So we'll need more going forward. And so that's what I was trying to refer to. But anyway, so also on the website today, in case you didn't see it in the afternoon yesterday, we did have availability with Mario Cristobal and the coordinators. Pretty interesting as usual. I mean, they're very raw, very honest. Love our press sessions with them every week. Wish we could have more of them. Quite honestly, I would love to be able to talk to them after games as well. But Matt, let's start with Shannon Dawson. He was a little chippy yesterday. I mean, a little bit on edge for understandable reasons. They're sitting here trying to figure out what to do about the quarterback position. They're getting ready to go play Florida State. The passing game has been missing in action now for a few weeks. And it's a tough time to be Shannon Dawson, who I give mad props to, Matt, because he stepped up in front of everybody and he said, this is on me. And, he did the same thing earlier in the year when he took the blame for the play call against Georgia Tech. He is a very loyal foot soldier, Shannon Dawson. But it is a little bit on him, quite frankly. It is his responsibility how Tyler Van Dyke plays. And if Tyler Van Dyke can't read defenses and your system requires the quarterback to read defenses, you have a choice to make. Maybe you have to create the system to where you help the quarterback with, some check with me's. I mean, you see it all over college football. They clap at the line of scrimmage. They get the defense to kind of commit itself to where it's going to line up. They look at the sideline. They get a signal. You're going here, or here. And the quarterback knows where his first read is in that formation. So, listen, I thought, Matt, that while it was nice that he was being a loyal foot soldier, I thought he was also being a little accurate, because there are many ways to, attack the beast, so to speak. And, maybe they've been a little bit slow to recognize some of the deficiencies that Tyler has. I don't want to get too crazy opinionated on it because, you want to be fair, and we don't really know all the ins and outs of what's going on every single day there. But the bottom line is Shannon Dawson was taking the onus on himself, Matt, to get this thing straightened out, whether it's with Tyler Van Dyke or Emory Williams. And he didn't shut the door on Ja'Cory Brown either. Might have been a little bit of a smokescreen, don't know. But he did say all options are on the table. So your thoughts?
Right. Well, I was sitting on the far side of the podium, and I happened to see him when he said, "This is on me," and he went like this. He went behind the podium. He was going like that. He said, "This is on me," and he had his fingers crossed. So I don't know what that was all about. But listen, he cuts up there, and I'm no body language expert, but I mean, if I was, I'm pretty sure my professional opinion would be that the guy would rather be in a stone crab trap than be in front of those reporters. And the weirdest thing he said, I mean, aside from the most shocking thing about the game was that he didn't have 2 deep passes. I don't know what that's all about, but
they had some plays called down the field that Tyler didn't get it done.
Yeah, I know.
They did.
I understand, but there's more shocking things about that offensive performance than that. To say 2 deep passes not happening was the most shocking thing. It's ridiculous.
I think the point he was making was that they were expecting a tight, hard-fought game, very physical game, and they felt like they were going to have to hit a couple deep shots over during the course of the game, and they called them and they tried to hit them and they thought they had them, and it just didn't happen. I think both times the ball didn't go to the right place. There was another time where he overshot Brashard Smith, and it just didn't happen the way it was supposed to.
The fact that you have to explain what he meant is exactly his problem, because you sense that he just isn't explaining things correctly to the quarterback's room.
I understood what he was saying because I was at the game and I was in the locker room afterwards, and not in the locker room, but in the post game. And you could talk all day. I'm going to get breakfast in 5 minutes. I just will have a blank screen here. So if you want me to talk, I will. If you want to talk, plenty of airtime. Stop being a crybaby about airtime. I'm trying to
care about airtime. I'm just in the middle of a thought, and I'm at an age now where I forget my thought.
Well, don't forget your thought. I'm just trying to clarify that I understood what he was saying.
I'm glad you did. My feeling is, and he explicitly said it, by the way, he said, I have to do a better job of explaining to my players what they're supposed to do. And the fact that he said that, I just find it funny that what I thought he meant and what you thought he meant are 2 totally different things, because I have a feeling he doesn't explain things very well to his players. He's very plain spoken and doesn't really go in depth about anything at these press conferences. It's very on the surface. And it wouldn't shock me if in the film room he says things very on the surface, and he's like, "Do you guys understand?" They're like, "Yeah," and he doesn't really delve into it. It's like in a math class when you're in front of 50 people and you're the teacher, and you say, "Does everyone get it?" That one kid's not going to be like, "I don't get it." That's not how it works. So he really needs to figure out where the disconnect is with his players, because they don't get it. They don't understand.
There's clearly an issue there. Either Tyler Van Dyke's lost his mind, or what he's supposed to do is not being ingrained well enough in him, or he's just freezing on game day and getting brain lock. I mean, it's something. I mean, there's something wrong there, and they have to attack it. Whether they start Tyler or not, they need to, they clearly need to figure out ways they can do what they're doing better.
Well, what I was trying to say before also was the most shocking thing to me wasn't that they didn't complete 2 deep passes. From what he said, even though that was shocking to me that he said that out loud, which obviously he meant something different from what you took away from it than from what I did. What really surprised me that he shared with us was that he never in his career has had to solve a passing game problem on his offense. He literally said that. He said, "I've never had this happen. I don't know what to do," basically. Like, that's basically what he told us. He's like, "I've always had running problems with my teams. I've never been able to run the ball well. I've never had fun with the passing game." Like, he said that out loud to us.
I know, but think about it. He's an air raid.
It was mind-blowing to hear an offensive coordinator at this level program say that out loud. That was amateur hour. Think about it. Say it out loud. You don't talk like that.
Don't call Shannon Dawson amateur hour. I like Shannon. Listen.
I like Shannon too, but you can still call someone you like for when they make mistakes. Give me a break.
He didn't make any mistakes. He is an air raid disciple. They don't have passing game problems. They are known. They are revered. They are worshipped, because they know how to pass, how to get the ball down the field throwing it. Okay. They don't have this problem. So I get totally what he was saying.
Of course you do. And Gary also thinks they're very, honest. They're very honest. Mario said that again, he said that, Elijah Arroyo's been fine the last few weeks. He hasn't played. He said again yesterday, we're optimistic he'll be full go. He also says Jaden Davis is fine. Darryl Porter is going to play. One of them was on crutches after the game. He said A.J. Allen and Ray Joseph are ready to play. Everybody, I mean, I'm amazed he's not saying Akeem Messidor and Nigel Kelly aren't ready. I'm amazed he's not saying Warren Sapp's coming out of retirement. He's going to be available. Like the whole thing
Warren
is
Sapp is
insane.
not coming out of
Mario
retirement.
should stop talking about injuries because it discredits everything he says. Like when he says
Warren
that
Sapp's not gonna
Tyler's
be
fine
welcome
to
in the
start,
building
when he
for a
says
while.
this guy's fine to start, when he says that guy's fine to start, nobody's ever hurt because he wants to have an advantage over the other team. You know what? Instead of lying to the media and the fans, just don't mention injuries. Say, my policy is I'm not going to discuss injuries. Other coaches have done that all the time. I don't understand what he thinks he gets out of lying and just saying everyone's healthy. I don't understand it. I wish he would stop doing it.
You're not going to see Warren Sapp, I don't think, in the building anytime soon.
No.
After his
Definitely
antics,
not.
After his antics on
After
social
that
media.
tweet.
Jesus, that was terrible. Absolutely horrific. I mean, do these guys, and I obviously love all our former players, and obviously I've known Warren since he played and everything, but like, do they think they're helping the situation?
Well, let me tell you, they some of them are, because I called Malik Razier, who I'm I feel like I'm friendly with Malik. I covered him for years. He's a great guy. And I said to Malik, I said, listen, I'm sure fans would love to get your inside perspective on Tyler because he's worked with Tyler personally, So I called him the day after the game, and Malik's like, listen, Matt, I just don't think I should do that. And I'm like, I respect that, I mean, I said, I'm a reporter. I have to ask you, like, it's okay. But, he's smart about it. Like, he understands there's nothing to be gained for anybody by him saying either Tyler's bad or Tyler's good, because either way, he's screwed.
Well, because he was on the radio.
Aren't smart enough to understand. Just keep your mouth shut and let's see where this thing goes. Give it some time.
He was on the radio after the game, and when he said that he thought Tyler should start at Florida State, which is a very sound philosophy, quite frankly, when you consider what it's going to mean on Saturday, he got assaulted by the angry mob. And I, he quickly figured out, I better just stay away from this issue. Yes, he's biased. He's worked with Tyler. He's also knows, as a guy that won at Florida State with that miracle pass at the end of Darrell Langham, he understands what going to play at Doe Campbell Stadium means. Not necessarily the place for a true freshman with one game under his belt at home. It's not, this is big boy football, and big boy atmosphere. And so, he meant well with his opinion, but he just got slayed, and just like we'll get slayed. If we say we think Tyler should start, we're gonna have bullet holes all over us. I mean, and I get it. People are angry, and again, I don't quite know what the expectations were for the season, but I guess when losses happen, they sting, and this one seems to have really stung, because the reaction has been like, wow, it's been pretty bad. But I don't know what Shannon Dawson and Mario Cristobal are going to do with this situation. They say all options are on the table. They can watch these guys practice and see how it goes.
By the way, what's that going to solve? Because everyone keeps saying
Tyler had a great week of practice last week.
So what's that going to solve if Tyler's great in practice? Tyler's great in practice again. What does that even mean?
I don't know. And then if you start Tyler, do you risk losing the team? What does the team think about all this? Are they still behind Tyler? There's so many elements to this situation, and it's not. I think there's a reason why we saw coaches that seemed a little on edge yesterday. It's a tense moment for them. Like, this is not what the script read. Like, this is totally off script for what this season was supposed to be. And Tyler Van Dyke was supposed to be one of the foundation pieces, one of the reliable guys on this team that you thought you'd be able to count on. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the season, he just totally loses his mind. And I don't know if he's struggling because he's not having the elite season that he wanted, and he feels a sense of failure. I mean, he's had agents for a couple of years, NIL deals. He's got the Tyler Van Dymes brand patented. Like, how many people are looking to buy Tyler Van Dymes stuff right now? Let's be honest. So, like, there's been a lot of pressure on this kid. Not making excuses, but he's been under a lot of pressure. He is not succeeding. And that could be making him a head case. We don't know. But we do know this: he has not looked right. You could clearly tell for a few weeks now that something was wrong. Matt knows I'm sitting up in the press box watching the games going back a few weeks, and I've been saying there is something wrong here. I mean, I was even saying did his girlfriend break up with him? What is going on with Tyler Van Dyke? He does not look like the same guy. And he doesn't. He still doesn't. This is a few weeks. So we'll see what happens. We'll be talking more, obviously, about the quarterback situation as the week goes on. But you guys can see everything that Shannon Dawson was saying in yesterday's press conference. So then we also spoke to Lance Guidry, who is his normal funny self. He said we were talking about how emotional it's going to be at Doak Campbell Stadium on Saturday, and Lance Guidry says, "I hope I don't get a flag for running on the field again." We're making fun of himself for what happened in the North Carolina game, but the defense is feeling pretty good about what it did at NC State. I think there was a lesson though that it's really hard to go out there, and I don't know how many drives there were. I would have to look it up, but let's say there's 16, 17 NC State possessions in the game or something like that. It's hard to go out there over and over again and be perfect every single time. But at the same time, the offense fails down near the goal line. It's a 4-point game, middle of the fourth quarter. I mean, there's plenty of time left. You got to get that ball back. I mean, you can't. That is not the place to fail, and you certainly can't give up a 97-yard touchdown drive. And one of your best players certainly can't lose his mind and get a 15-yard penalty, and then 2 plays later, try to neck tackle a running back, the lamest thing you've ever seen in your life, and let the guy run right by him for a 30-yard touchdown run that puts the game away. I mean, listen, people got mad at me for even mentioning this stuff in my columns and stuff, but this is not okay. You can't let a game slip away like that. This is a team sport. Lance Guidry was telling us yesterday, he looks at it like they are competing against the other defense, not against the offense. They have to play better than the other team's defense, okay? And there were 2 drives in the game where they didn't. And the standard was pretty tough this week. He had no margin for error. But that is football. There are games like that sometimes. And no, it is not okay to give up a 97-yard drive in that situation. And, Matt, I'm telling you, this program, I mean, there's a hex over this program I've never seen. It's always something. It's Georgia Tech, the head coach doesn't call for the knee. They end up blowing the game. North Carolina was a little bit more traditional. I mean, they weren't ready for the hurry up offense. That was, that was on Lance Guidry for not having his side of the ball ready for the hurry up offense that day. Now you've got, this NC State loss, which, was another tight game. Didn't have to happen. You went to overtime a couple times. Probably didn't have to happen. So it just seems like nothing ever goes according to plan for Miami football in the modern history. And you got to hope one day the team is good enough to where that changes. But right now you just don't know what to expect. But I think Lance Guidry, to sum it up, feels pretty good about where his defense is. Would you agree?
I think yes and no, because they're playing Florida State, on Saturday. If he feels good about his defense heading into Florida State, then he's probably not preparing right, because I don't think anybody should feel good about their defense when you're going against Jordan Travis, these receivers, these 2 tight ends. This is a team, and even the running backs, the run game's really good. This is a team that will punish you with its offense in so many different ways. And I'm actually really curious, because I think even with some failures at the end of NC State against North Carolina, even with those failures, I think Lance Guidry's defense is an outstanding approach to playing defense, specifically at Miami, with the kind of aggression that Miami recruits, with the kind of athletes in the Miami area that they'll be able to get playing in this style of defense. I mean, what defensive lineman, linebacker, defensive back isn't going to want to play in this defense? Defensive ends get to drop into coverage, play as linebackers sometimes. They love that. Defensive tackles get to line up at defensive end. Ask Jared Harrison Hunt about that. Linebackers get to cover. They get to blitz. They do everything. Run support. Safeties come in the box. Safeties are covering one-on-one. The corners are left on an island. There's not a single position on defense where you're not going to find a stellar top 5-star defensive player where they don't think they can showcase their abilities perfectly for the NFL in this defense in every different aspect of their position. I mean, it's an outstanding system for recruiting. And it's also been a really, really good system for winning games and helping limit opponents and sort of confusing opposing quarterbacks. Now, with that said, and honestly, his defensive scheme has masked some of the inadequacies at linebacker and at cornerback, because the way that he drops his defensive lineman and is blitzing at different angles, and the way that he stunts, on the line before the snap, and different things that he does that just little things that people don't even really notice on an average day-to-day basis if you're an average fan. Just the things he does really confuse an offensive line. I mean, you see plays where defense, even Jacob Lichtenstein at one point last game, nobody even blocked him. They didn't even know what was happening on the offensive front. He just ran in and couldn't believe he had his second tackle of the year. He's the greatest player in the world now, right? He got a tackle for loss. Just ask Gary. Jacob Lichtenstein's amazing. So that's an inside joke.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'll come clean on this. So Matt and I have been fighting all day yesterday about whether Jacob Lichtenstein qualifies as a bust. And I unequivocally said, no, he is not a bust. He's been a rotation guy on the defensive line going into 2 seasons. That's not a bust. And Matt was arguing with me that he is a bust and whatever.
My point is, if he's not a bust, he has 2 tackles this year. He was a third-teamer last year. If he's not a bust in the portal, I don't know who is, because you've never started a game. You play maybe 10 or 14 reps because guys are hurt on the defensive line. 2 starters are hurt, so now you're a second-teamer. You have 2 tackles on the year. I don't understand, but Gary says it's a different position he plays. It's okay to get no tackles at that position and just stand there because you need a body. So, okay.
You play at least 8 guys on the D line. It's a rotation position, and he's in the rotation.
You would not be a bust based on your own definition of playing a defensive line, apparently. So you don't need any tackles. Just stand there. You're a body. Well, it doesn't matter who you are. They needed you, so you're not a bust. If they need you, you're not a bust.
Did take a look at the Pro Football Focus grades for this past week and look up Jacob Lichtenstein? Look how good he graded out.
He played 14 reps.
But look how good he graded.
What?
That's not a bust. I'm sorry. Of course, he only played 14 reps. They rotate.
They don't play the other guys 14 reps. They play him 40 reps, the other guys. The good guys, they play 40 reps. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about Lichtenstein. So what was I talking about before? See, this is my old age. You get me off topic, forget about it. Now I don't even know. Move on. Next topic. Go to the next topic. I don't even care anymore. Whatever.
All right. The next topic is Mario. All right. So Mario was a little on edge. He was asked about the quarterback situation, and he said he would not discuss a personnel move, especially at that position. He's in a tough spot. He's in a tough spot, Matt. He really is.
The way Mario operates, I don't know why he didn't just name someone a starter and then start somebody else.
He's in a tough spot.
If you're going to lie about injuries, why stop there? Name starters who are going to start a quarterback that aren't going to start. Then you'll really screw up the other team.
Think about the decision,
Mario. Don't stop halfway.
Think about the decision Mario Cristobal has to make. He's got a 3-year starter who has clearly lost his way, is clearly having issues, whatever they might be. But he gives you the best chance to walk into Doak Campbell Stadium Saturday and have a passing game that can hit 300-400 yards. He just does. I mean, he's had many of those games over the last 3 years. As much as you're angry at him right now, as much as you think you hate him because he did not perform on Saturday night, Tyler Van Dyke has gotten it done on a lot of occasions in his career. Okay, now you are going to play Florida State. You know what this game means, okay? And he, without question, is your best chance to go up there and throw for 300-400. But you're going to get crucified if you pick him and it doesn't work out, okay? Plus, if you pick him and it doesn't work out, now you've also got to answer to your other players, many of whom like, if you think these kids are in a bubble where they're not hearing all this venom that's flying around about their quarterback, you're kidding yourself. I mean, they're hearing it from their parents, they're hearing it from their agents, they're hearing it from their friends. This is a toxic environment this week when it comes to the quarterback. And here's Mario, who's got to make this decision. And if you go with Emery, you got to protect them the whole game. And like you did against Clemson, and you got to run a whole different type of offense. And that puts a lot of pressure on Shannon Dawson either way. Either one of these scenarios puts a lot of pressure on Shannon Dawson. So, yeah, that's why they were on edge yesterday. They're on edge. I mean, this is a tough moment for these guys. But they'll man up. They will make their decision, and they will go to battle on Saturday with what they feel, best about. But thought Mario was a little chippy also yesterday. Would you agree?
Yeah. He his whole mantra of what is it? Something about anything and everything is the same. How you do anything is how you do everything. How you do everything is how you do anything. He is not the same guy talking to us that he was earlier in the year when the team was doing well. There's a weight on him.
He's disappointed.
There's a stress you can see for those that know him and have known him for a long time as we have. There's a stress that you can clearly see is really weighing on him. And it's not something that if you're a Miami fan, you want to see, because players sense these things. Just like, football players say they're dogs. They want to be dogs. Dogs sort of take their cues from their owners, right? Mario is sort of the owner of the whole program. I mean, he is. And he runs the show, and players and coaches take their cues from him. And if I could, and you and I could both recognize that he was different, and there's no doubt in my mind that players also recognize that, and coaches recognize that. And yeah, it's FSU week. But if his whole culture and his whole thing is, being professional, treat every week the same, and do everything the same, it's hard to reconcile that with what we saw yesterday. So I know Mario's done this a long time, but it's just, it's not a great sign to me that he does seem to be really stressed out, just stressed out. Even his answers to questions.
This is a tough decision, Matt.
Yeah, if you even look at the press conference, you look at the press conference he had yesterday, and we're not going to do this. But if you time the length of his answers, just time the length of each answer to each question versus the time and the length of the questions in the first 4 or 5 games even this year, I'm telling you right now, they were 10 seconds plus longer per answer early in the year. And whether he's doing it intentionally or subconsciously, I don't know. My guess is he's not really doing it on purpose. He's just has other things on his mind, which is what stress is, right? When you're always thinking about something else and you can't get your mind to stop thinking about things that are going on around you that are impacting your life. And at one point he did say life is football, and then he corrected himself and said, well, after family, then it's football. We'll put family a little bit ahead of football. He corrected himself.
He better.
This means so much to him, which is fantastic as fans. That's what you want in your coach. You don't want a coach who's not putting his every ounce of being into this. And that's what I keep telling people who ask about Mario.
This program gets every ounce that guy has in his body. I mean, 365 days a year. I mean, relentless from 4 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night. You're getting everything that guy's got, sometimes probably later than 10 o'clock. I mean, there's nothing left in the tank. Trust me. Like he is laying it all out there.
Yep. We cover that next.
Yeah, but no, this is a brutal decision. I don't know what they're going to do. I see the pluses and minuses on both. I try to stay level-headed on this stuff and not get too emotional about it all. And this is a tough decision, man. It's a tough decision. I have no prediction right now on which way it's going to go. All right, we've got a few other things on the website that we should talk about. Let's see. A really cool recruiting story. You guys saw Casey Concepcion the other day. The all-purpose guy for NC State that made all their big plays in the game. Well, he's got a younger brother, Arian, who has. I mean, first of all, we find out that they grew up rooting for Miami. So Arian's a big Miami fan. He's being recruited by Miami. His brother just slayed Miami. He's being recruited by Miami and is making plans to visit later in the season. We caught up with him. Very cool little story. I urge everybody, make sure you check that one out. We also have a recruiting update with a cornerback, a 2027 cornerback from Pennsylvania, who's already been offered by Miami. We see what he's thinking about that. So encourage you to take a look at that. What else? The basketball team had a big win on opening night last night. We've got complete coverage of that on the website this morning. And in a program note, tonight at 8, we have what promises to be a very animated and entertaining CaneSport live show, as Ubi Charles and I will be discussing all of these issues and all of these situations pertaining to Miami football with you guys, the fans. I hope everybody will join us for that show at 8 o'clock tonight. And feel free, if you've got some opinions you want to express, to call in, and we will do our best to get everybody on who wants to be heard. So CaneSport Live tonight at 8. And I guess that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. If you are on YouTube right now and you like this show, like this channel, hit your subscribe and like buttons. It helps us with the algorithms at YouTube and growing our audience. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, we have a half-price introductory special this week for the big game. You get 50% off your first year subscription. I hope you will find that to be the best deal around. We really bust it every day to try to do everything we can do to enhance your fan experience. So come join our team at CaneSport.com. And finally, I'd like to know, like, do you like my pig people? Like, you know, look how cute they are. That's my pig people. Okay. Just so you know, if I'm going to have pig people, they're going to look like that. Okay. Or do you like Matt Shodell's pig people? Okay. You guys can make that decision as your morning goes forward. So for Matt, I'm Gary. Thank you so much for making us part of your day, and we'll see you next time, everybody.